In 1964, a Soviet astronomer named Nikolai Kardashev builds a scale to measure how advanced an alien civilization could get. 3 levels, based on energy. Other scientists stretch it further. 8 levels. It starts with us, struggling to power our own planet. It ends with something that makes the word God feel like an understatement. Here's every level, what they'd build, what you'd see, and how fast it stops making sense. Right now, humanity uses about 20 terawatts of power. That's everything. Every power plant, every car engine, every phone charger, all of it. On the Kardashev scale, that puts us at 0.73, type 0. Not even on the board. You look at Earth from orbit and you can see it. Scattered city lights, dark oceans, patchy grids that thin out and vanish at the edges. It looks half finished, because it is. We're a species that discovered nuclear energy and still burns dead trees to stay warm. That's type 0. And the gap to type 1 isn't a step, it's a cliff. Type 1, a civilization that captures all the energy available on its planet, not some of it. All of it. Every beam of sunlight hitting the surface, every wave, every gust of wind, every joule of heat leaking from the core, about 10 to the 16th watts, roughly 100 times what humanity produces right now. From orbit, this planet looks nothing like Earth. There are no dark patches. Every surface harvests energy. The oceans are covered in converters. The night side glows, but not with the random scatter of cities. It glows with purpose, like the whole planet is one machine that happens to have life on it. A Type 1 civilization controls its weather, prevents earthquakes, has unlimited clean energy, no resource wars, no energy poverty. And that's not because they're generous, it's because they had to. At a certain point, the waste heat from your own energy use starts cooking your planet, regardless of what fuel you're burning. Solar, nuclear, fusion, doesn't matter. You either master planetary energy completely, or you choke on your own exhaust. This is where the great filter probably lives. The test that kills most civilizations before they get anywhere. War, climate collapse, resource depletion. Most species that evolve intelligence probably never make it past this point. Every Type 1 civilization you find out there didn't just get powerful, it survived the thing that kills everyone else. But here's the problem. Even after you've mastered your entire planet, your star is right there, dumping 3.86 times 10 to the 26th watts into empty space every second, and you're catching a tiny, embarrassing fraction of it. You're standing under Niagara Falls with a shot glass, Type 2, you build around the star. In 1960, physicist Freeman Dyson published a one-page paper describing what this might look like. He later called it a little joke. Everyone else called it a Dyson sphere, but Dyson never meant a solid shell. He meant a swarm. Billions of orbiting structures, each one the size of a country, slowly surrounding the star and catching its light. You don't build a Dyson sphere. You grow a Dyson swarm over centuries, piece by piece. The construction cost is Jupiter. You'd need to disassemble a planet 318 times the mass of Earth and reshape it into orbiting collectors. At about twice Earth's distance from the sun, the material would only be 2 to 3 meters thick. You could walk through it. Now imagine approaching one. The star looks dim in visible light, almost faded, but in infrared it's blazing, warm. You get closer and the points of light become structures, millions of them. The sky stops being empty and becomes a ceiling, a warm, glowing, artificial ceiling in every direction. Below it, the star. Above it, cold space. And in between, a civilization that eats sunlight. Some physicists have pushed this further. Robert Bradbury proposed the Matryoshka brain, nested Dyson swarms like Russian dolls, each layer using the waste heat of the one inside it. A stellar-powered computer that could run more calculations per second than every human brain that has ever existed, combined, by a factor of trillions. Others have proposed using this technology to move entire star systems through the galaxy like tugboats. And here's what matters for the search. A Type 2 can't hide. Thermodynamics won't let it. Use energy, produce waste heat, no exceptions. A Dyson swarm radiates like a star-sized space heater, and that glow is exactly what our telescopes can detect. In 2024, a team in Sweden scanned 5 million stars and found 7 that might have Dyson-like infrared signatures. One's been ruled out so far. 6 remain unexplained. The telescopes that found them are now offline. We can't easily recheck. But 6 question marks are still hanging in the sky. Type 3. A civilization that has done to every star in its galaxy what a Type 2 does to one. 10 to the 36th watts. 100 billion stars, each one wrapped or harnessed or drained. The entire Milky Way claimed. Scientists have actually looked for this. They've scanned 100,000 galaxies for the waste heat signature of a Type 3. The result? Fewer than 0.3% could be hiding one. A $100 million initiative called Breakthrough Listen has searched over 1 million stars. Nothing confirmed. What would you see if you found one? A galaxy gone dark, where there should be a brilliant spiral of hundreds of billions of stars. There's almost nothing in visible light, but in infrared, it's there. A warm smudge, a galaxy-shaped ghost, humming with waste heat. Every star enclosed, every photon captured, a machine 100,000 light years across and completely silent. But a Type 3 probably isn't an empire. A signal from one side of the galaxy to the other takes 100,000 years. You can't govern that. You can't coordinate it. It's not a civilization. It's 1 million Type 2s that filled every available star system and have no way to talk to each other. An archipelago of gods that will never meet. And the scariest version? A Type 3 that's retreated entirely into computation, running simulated universes inside Matryoshka brains around every star, radiating waste heat so efficiently that it's nearly indistinguishable from the background temperature of empty space, 2.7 Kelvin, the universe's default setting, a galaxy full of minds, invisible, thinking thoughts we can't imagine, looking like nothing at all. Everything up to here is Kardashev's original scale, published in 1964, built on real physics, tested with real telescopes. From here on, we're leaving the peer-reviewed map. What comes next was proposed by other physicists and futurists. The concepts are grounded in real science, but nobody's pointed a telescope at a Type 4. Nobody's written a detection paper for a Type 7. This is the edge. Let's go over it. Type 4. 10 to the 46th watts, the energy output of the entire observable universe, not one galaxy, all of them. Every star in every galaxy across 93 billion light years of space. At this level, the word civilization starts to break. A Type 4 doesn't build around stars. It operates on the fabric of reality itself. Dark energy makes up 68% of the universe's total energy. We don't even know what it is. A Type 4 does, and it's using it the way you use electricity, casually. What would you see if you found one? Nothing. That's the answer. A Type 4's engineering is indistinguishable from physics. You'd never know if a cosmic constant was designed or natural. You'd look at the laws of the universe and have no way to tell if someone wrote them. Out in deep space, there's the Bhuta's void. 330 million light years across, a hole in the universe where roughly 2,500 galaxies should exist but don't. It's almost certainly natural, but at this level of the scale, you start to understand why people look at empty patches of the cosmos and wonder if something carved them out. Type 5, a civilization that has left this universe entirely. Its energy source isn't stars or galaxies or even dark energy, it's other realities, the multiverse. Every parallel universe, every branch of the quantum wave function, every pocket reality predicted by string theory, and some estimates put the number of possible configurations at 10 to the 500th. You wouldn't experience a Type 5. You can't. Your entire observable universe might be a discarded side project, a test environment, a simulation they spun up and forgot about. And that's not just philosophy. If a civilization can simulate entire universes with perfect accuracy, the difference between real and simulated stops meaning anything. A Type 5 might create realities the way you open browser tabs, without thinking too hard about what's inside. At this point on the scale, you're forced to ask a question that science doesn't have tools for. At what point does a civilization become indistinguishable from what most human cultures have called God? The scale doesn't answer that. It just keeps climbing. Type 6. A civilization that doesn't just use the fundamental forces of the universe, it rewrites them, not harnessing gravity, editing it, adjusting the electromagnetic force in a local region because it's convenient. The laws of physics aren't constraints anymore, they're preferences. The universe isn't their home, it's something closer to a code base, and they have admin access. Type 7. Mastery over higher dimensions. Not parallel universes, the structure underneath them. A civilization operating in dimensions that your brain physically cannot picture. You're a flat drawing on a page. A Type 7 sees the page, sees the desk it's sitting on, can fold it, tear it, stack it on top of another page. Everything you experience as reality is a single thin layer in something they navigate freely. Type 8, the end of the scale, sometimes called omniversal. A civilization with mastery over all possible realities, all possible physics, all possible states of existence. Every universe, every dimension, every version of every law that could ever govern anything. The word civilization has no meaning here. Neither does energy. Neither does exist. This is the point where the Kardashev scale breaks its own framework. You can't measure something when there's nothing outside it to compare against. A Type 8 isn't a civilization on a scale. It is the scale. It's the system that contains everything, including the concept of measurement itself. At this level, we're not doing science anymore. We're doing theology with a number line. And there's something honest about admitting that. Kardashev built a 3-level system to classify radio signals in 1964. 60 years later, we've stretched it to 8 levels that end somewhere past the definition of reality. That escalation tells you more about the human imagination than about any aliens. But here's what's real. One confirmed civilization on the entire scale. Us. 0.73, 18 terawatts, scattered city lights, and dark oceans. We haven't passed the great filter. We don't know if we will. And every time we point a telescope at the sky and listen, the universe answers with the same thing. Silence. The Kardashev scale doesn't tell us what's out there. It tells us what could be. And right now, the most important question on the entire scale isn't what's at the top. It's whether we make it past the bottom.